Okay, we are live, it looks like. So go ahead and start this. Mute it. And there's our chat. So we will kind of wait for a minute or two just so we can see if anybody starts to view. And Linda, it's early at your time. Is it like 5 there?
5 o'clock, yeah. Which isn't early to me, seeing as how I usually go to bed at 9. My evening's winding down.
Yeah. I usually have, I'm usually like a 10 o'clock kind of person, except for my husband's late nights, and then I'll stay up a little later with him sometimes. But yeah, so looks like we're starting to pick up a couple of viewers, and it may be that that's just me and Chris.
It could be. I'm watching on the iPad.
It probably is just us watching. That's perfectly okay. So we thought we'd get together tonight and talk about some common eBay issues. We wanted to talk about shipping, but also open this up to any other questions that anyone who's watching might have. So if you have questions, feel free to put those over in the chat and we will address those. I think with the eyes that are watching, we should be able to catch all of the questions. You guys know me. I have been selling for probably since 2011, but only seriously since about 2014. And really seriously in this last 2 years. I started this channel about six or 7 months ago, and I really enjoyed, you know, interacting with you folks. Like, this is like the best part of all this reselling. But I want to throw this over to Linda and let her tell you about her channel and how long she's been selling, etc.
Let's see, I've only been YouTubing for the last few months. But I've been reselling for almost 7 years now. Well, maybe 6 years. I started part-time just to get extra money because I moved to Colorado from California, and it took me a while to find a new job. And when I finally did get a new job, it wasn't going to be quite enough to make ends meet. So it was either get a second job or do something I'd been considering doing for quite a while. My brother and his wife, they do this as well, and so I knew of it from them doing it. So I didn't want to get a second job, so I started hitting garage sales, and little by little I just kept growing and growing, and then I realized that this was what I wanted to do. I wanted to do this full time at some point. I loved it. It was some, what I loved. I could make money at finally. It took me a while to find it, but I did. And so I just kept building and building, and then this last, the end of October, I quit my job and have gone full-time reselling now. So, and then YouTubing, I decided to start doing this. So much of my knowledge came from YouTubers, and I want to do a little bit of that as well, give back a little bit, and it was also something to get me out of my comfort zone. I have a hard time. Kind of like you've nicknamed yourself the socially awkward seller. I'm very much the same way. I'm not great in social settings. So something in this last year I really wanted to start working on, and I've come a long way. And I think the YouTubing has been a big part of helping me get comfortable with that. So
yeah, I agree with you. I think that it kind of, this is like a safe way of being interactive with the reselling community, in that you kind of have some control with what you share, and you get to give back, because I as well learned a lot of what I know from watching YouTubers and from trial and error and making mistakes. But this is a way for me to give back, and I will tell you, I know that you sell a mix of hard goods and clothing, and I don't sell clothing, but I have learned so many new products from just watching your videos. Some of them just aren't as available here, like the e-trex that you find.
right.
Because it just geographically you're probably at a better location for those. But I'm like, I never even knew about them. So I learned so much from watching your channel.
That's good. See, that's what I love to hear. And I've had so many comments on my videos of people thanking me for them. And I mean, it's been more than I actually expected. I really didn't think many people would watch them. I didn't think I would get much positive feedback on them. And that's pretty much all I've gotten. So it's really kind of spurred me on to keep doing it. Because when I first started doing it, I didn't know if I'd make 2 videos or do this for years or something in between. And I still don't know for sure. But I'm enjoying it, and it seems to be helping some people, and that's exactly what I wanted to do it for. So
yeah, and it's interesting to watch your channel grow. So I just hit 400 subscribers last night, and I'm just surprised by that. I'm just shocked that anybody cares what I think or sell or have to say. But
I felt.
I know it's so positive. And that being said, I'm going to have Chris come on here and introduce herself. Chris needs to start her own channel. She's just really hesitant. She's really nervous because this is her first live event. So I'm going to go ahead and have you introduce yourself, talk about your reselling, and so on and so forth, Chris.
Okay. So yes, she's right. I am very nervous. I am socially awkward to a maximum degree. But I figured, what can people do? What can people say? So anyway, my name is Chris Flannery. My store is the Corduroy Fox on eBay, and I started selling probably about 2 years ago, coming up on 2 years ago. And when I initially started, I was looking for a way for my stepson, who is disabled, to make some extra income, sort of under the table, so to speak, just to see if that would be something that would be helpful for him. So I kind of got into it thinking, well, I'll build it up and I'll hand it over to him. But he showed zero interest in it, and I got like addicted. So I've always loved to thrift anyway, so it was a natural thing. Of course, I went kind of all in and bought a bunch of stuff and overbought for sure. So there's my first tip not to do. But I love it. I do have a full-time job outside of this, and I am on a leave of absence right now, but I probably will have to return to my full-time job. So, but I would love to make this my full-time work someday. So
cool beans. So anyway, yeah, work on that channel, because you've got, I've learned a lot of stuff from you too, because you don't know what you don't know until somebody says, hey, this is the way I do that. So anyway, I thought we would talk a little bit about free shipping versus calculated shipping or flat shipping or whatever you want to do. And I'm not sure, the three of us may differ in opinion, or as in what works for us and what doesn't. But I typically only offer free shipping on really competitive items that will ship first class. Most of the time I'm going to do calculated shipping, and when doing those calculations, I'm going to make sure that I know what size box this item is going to ship in and the approximate weight. And generally you can just weigh the item and add a little bit of weight to it, whether that be 8 ounces for a smaller item or a pound for a smaller item, up to 2-3 pounds for a larger item that's going to take a lot of shipping. But I have not noticed that items with free shipping sell more often or less often. They sell, but so do my other items. So what do you guys think?
I very rarely do free shipping. I've tested it multiple times through the years, and it's never shown me to get me any more sales. And what it has done is it makes it difficult when, especially if I have stuff up on best offer. I think when people send offers, they don't realize, most buyers don't realize how much shipping is. And so when they send offers, they probably have a number like $2 or $3 in their head for shipping. So I'll make this offer, and I can't do it with what the shipping's going to be. So it makes doing best offers, which I do like to do, more difficult. And then get I don't know if we all do, or if it's just top rated sellers or what, we get a discount from eBay with the US Postal Service. And so I do calculated shipping, and then my actual cost is not a lot, but there's a little bit of profit I'm making on that, and it just helps to pay for, I kind of think of it as, because we pay fees on the shipping we collect as well, which is wrong because we don't get to keep that money. But I mean, I know why eBay does it, but so in my mind, the little profit I make on the shipping charges kind of covers, you know, that fee and a little bit of the other fees or something, or maybe the shipping supplies, or, you know, so it's kind of like a handling time to me,
Right.
Or a handling fee. So the only time I do free shipping is if I'm doing an item where pretty much all the other comps are free shipping. So I just kind of join the pack, but of course I work the shipping cost into the price. So I do know there's people out there that will click free shipping only, and I'm not going to get those buyers. But there's people out there that, like me, that click on to sort by the cheapest plus shipping, and those are the buyers I'm going to get. So, you know, there's pros and cons to everything, and it's whatever works for each person. I know there's people out there that do free shipping, and it works for them, and that's great. It's whatever works for each person. So if in your head one thing works better for you, then that's what you want to do. You don't want to just do something because some YouTuber or somebody else told you, well, you should do it this way. You got to do what works for you. What even if it's psychological, whatever's going to work for you, that's what you got to go with.
Yeah, and that's something that eBay really advocates too, and they will prompt you to offer free shipping, but it's not always the best for your business model. Chris, your thoughts?
I mean, pretty much agree with everything you've both said, and the only thing I would add is that, you know, and I think she did touch on this, is that, you know, it made me very hesitant to accept best offers when I have to consider my margin for the shipping and all of that. So yeah, I mean, if it's a first class item, more than likely I will offer first class. I mean, free shipping, but even then, sometimes I don't. It just depends on how I've priced it. If I feel it's competitively priced, you know, I mean, sometimes I might do free shipping when other people aren't doing free shipping, or I might not do it when other people are doing it, just to differentiate some way and make my price lower. So yeah, it's just, I'm not a big advocate of it, and I know that people do claim that it gives you a boost in the search, and that's possible, but I've never noticed it having an impact on my sales one way or the other.
Yeah, and to answer your question, Linda, it does. You do get a shipping discount even if you're not top rated, but I believe it's not as much. I feel like I get a bigger discount being a top rated seller than I did when I was just an above standard.
I thought I'd heard that before, but I just wasn't positive. And I've been top rated seller for quite a while. Knock on wood that I keep it. So I don't remember what it was like when I wasn't top rated seller. So I don't know how much the discount was then, but you know, sometimes it's a real good discount.
Yeah, sometimes it's 40
or 15 ounce first class. It's a couple bucks profit right there, which is nice.
Right, and I've seen my discount be as much as 40 to 50%.
Yeah, and then other times it's only 10%. So I don't know how it is.
It doesn't. I know it never makes sense to me why it's this or that, but you know, I'll take it, whatever it is. In looking at that, you'll also have to consider refunds that you might make that don't include shipping. If you're offering free shipping, then you know you're going to have to refund the entire amount, and that's something to consider. And you know, I have started to do this thing, and I'm just playing with it to see how it works, and so far it's worked out fine for me. And that is, I do calculated shipping, and I always offer parcel. That is what I offer, but I can almost always upgrade it to priority, because I feel like maybe parcel select is a little bit cheaper for the buyer, so it gives them a cheaper price. But then I can almost always increase it to priority for the same price or even less. and give them that boost, and hopefully that helps with customer satisfaction, where they're getting it faster than they thought. So I'm playing around with that. So far I haven't been burned by it. The worst case scenario is I just send it parcel select. So we'll see how that works.
Yeah, I find parcel select, unless it's a super heavy item, like more than 10 pounds, it's very rarely priority mail. So I've done that as well before, where I've given them the option that the default is parcel select, but then I've given the option of priority mail, and then they choose parcel select. But then when I go to ship it, it's marginally more. And yeah, I upgrade them to priority mail just to try and help the feedback.
Right. Yeah, and don't forget to use those regional A and regional B boxes. You'll be surprised what will fit in those and save you a great deal of money. My cat is just crazy. All the time. My cat found one of those catnip mice, and he's going crazy.
Yeah, an example of those regional A, it just saved me that I had that Cutco knife block. Weighed like 10 pounds, but it fit perfect inside of a regional A box, so I only had to pay 2 pounds. It was really nice.
Yeah, the regional rate boxes are awesome. I love them. I've got all of it because there's 2 different shapes for each, the A and the B. And I make sure I have
about that. I mean, most people I think know about them, but should we elaborate on it a little, you think?
Well, I mean, it's a priority box. You cannot choose whether you want to ship priority A or B when you're making your selection in your listing, but you do have the option of doing it when you're actually getting ready to print the label. I don't have both shapes though, Linda, and I think I'll probably order some of those this week.
Yeah, because there's lots of times that won't fit in the one, but that will the other. And how I deal with the fact that eBay doesn't let you set it up, your listing up for the regional rate boxes, is regional rate A is based on 2 pounds, a regular priority mail 2-pound package, and the regional rate B's is set up for 4 pounds. So that's what I set my listing up for. Is even though the package is going to weigh, say, 6 pounds, I put it as 2 pounds. Then it charges the customer what the regional rate would be.
Right.
And so and then I just make sure I don't offer international shipping, because that would really hurt me if I had something set for 2 pounds when it's really 6, and the international shipping is going to. So anything I do that on, I don't offer international shipping. But then the customer is going to get charged appropriately for the package. So that's how I handle that to get it right for the listing.
Yep. So I don't do a lot of straight international shipping, except to possibly Canada. Are you doing? You see, my cat is like messing with this. It's probably going to all fall down here in a second. Oh well, it happens. But I do GSP pretty much everywhere. Linda, are you shipping directly internationally, or what? How are you handling that?
Yeah, I've never done the GSP. I go back to when it first came out, and there were so many complaints about how expensive it was. So international buyers weren't buying anything from people that use the GSP, or they were complaining, they were getting bad feedback, this and that. And I've not always done the international shipping. I think it was maybe 2 years into my selling on eBay that I finally decided to give it a try. It's a little intimidating when you haven't done it before, but I decided to go ahead and try it. I think I started with just like Canada, just to kind of test the waters. And now I do Canada, United Kingdom, Australia, France, I think I'm forgetting somewhere, but they're pretty much the safe countries. And then I use the Ship Saver insurance that you can get through you can get the service through eBay. So it's not eBay that's doing it, but you get the service through eBay. And every time I have an international package, I insure it's usually a dollar. It's $1 up to $100 package. So that I've never had to put a claim in, though. Knock on wood, I haven't ever had any major international issues. I've had to maybe do my entire life refunds for something that maybe arrived damaged or something. But I sell a lot of stuff to Australia, a lot of clothing. And then Canada, I sell some video games to Canada and some clothing, and United Kingdom I sell a lot. Oh, Germany's the other country. I forgot. I also go to Germany.
Yeah. And I'm completely the opposite. Like I will sell more. I will use GSP for practically everywhere except for Canada, and partially just because I know I'm protected, and I don't have a ton of international sales, probably because I opt for GSP. But I feel like there's protection for both parties involved, and I do know that the fees and stuff are a lot higher. So maybe I need to look at that. Maybe I need to give them the option of maybe some of those Western European countries and Australia, and see if that's something I want to play around with. I know that it's funny because my mailman, who is the best mailman, when I ask him, I'm like, which forms go where? And he's always like, I never know. He's so funny. But it's actually pretty simple. You can print out the instruction sheet as you print out the label, and it tells you exactly what to do. So it's not that bad.
Well, and with eBay makes it so easy because they fill the form out for you. If it's first class international, which is what I usually do, it's just a one-sheet page, just like regular domestic shipping. You just have to make sure you sign and date it, but everything's already pre-filled out by eBay.
Right. Mm-hmm.
If it's a package over 4 pounds, it does have to go priority international, and then you have to deal with the 4 sheets.
Yeah.
And still, that's just a matter of, it's all filled out by eBay. When you print, it prints out 4 sheets.
Mm-hmm.
You cut them because I think it's 2 per sheet. So you just cut them in half. You sign each one, sign and date each one, and then you have to have one of the plastic envelope, from the post office, and you put them in the right order in that, and that's it. I mean, it's just a couple minutes more than the first class international.
Yeah, I think it's a little overwhelming for folks. Like once I figured out there was actually just instructions and read those, I have defined. I know it's like instructions. Who needs instructions?
What?
Once I actually read those, I was fine with shipping that. I haven't done a lot of international shipping in the last probably year or two, outside of GSP. Chris, have you done much?
I strictly do GSP. I don't do Canada direct or anything. I go entirely through GSP, and I know that hurts me, especially for Canada, because I know it is quite costly for them for us to ship to them. I would like to start offering direct, and I guess I would need to get more familiar with what countries are kind of foolproof as far as where you're most protected and where you're least likely to encounter any issues. Obviously Canada would be one of them, and I would like to start doing that because I do think it would open up. I mean, I think anybody who doesn't, if you're not willing to ship internationally, period, through GSP or whatever, I mean, you're just alienating the entire, I mean, it's a huge audience that you're missing out on. So at the very least, use GSP. But I would like to learn more about shipping internationally directly.
Yeah. And I think there's some Eastern European countries that might be a little questionable. Definitely, a lot of people have experienced problems shipping to Russia. That has not been my experience. Those are stories that I've heard. There have been some problems with some countries in South America. Again, those are stories that I've heard. I don't have firsthand knowledge of that, but maybe it's time for me to open it back up and open it up to that global market, because what we forget is there are, yes, it's a global market, and yes, we can sell to all these other folks in other countries, but there are a lot of Americans that live other places that would like to have the products that we have because they can't get them locally.
Mm-hmm. And I assume if you list an item and select GSP, that if it is going to a country that it is not permitted to go to, whatever the item might be that's restricted, I would assume that the buyer can't buy it. Is that correct?
No. What will happen in that situation is that customs will basically confiscate that.
I mean, even if I get before, could the buyer even buy? I guess I'm asking.
Yeah, the buyer can buy it.
Yeah, that shouldn't be.
Yeah. but the buyer can buy it. And in that situation, because I just had that recently with some of those nicotine e-cig cartridges. They were confiscated. eBay refunded the money, and I kept the proceeds for that as well. So yeah, I mean, there should be.
They'll protect you, and that is the nice thing about GSP, because eBay will protect you if anything like that.
Yeah, because otherwise, you know, I would have been on my own to refund the money to that buyer. But you know, that is some protection. You would think that maybe we wouldn't be able to sell to that country, but you know, how many countries are there in the world? 165. I don't do geography and math. But keeping up with all of the laws that are constantly changing for all those countries would probably just be too big of a task for eBay, and they probably spend less dollars refunding that money to the customer than what they would have to pay to staff folks to just keep up with all those regulations. So yeah.
Anytime I'm listing something that I question whether it could be sold to a foreign country, or I just turn off international. So I don't offer international shipping on all my items, just safe stuff that I know is not going to be an issue.
Yeah.
That way I don't.
You know, those Miss Me jeans are probably safe going to Lithuania. You know.
Well, for instance, though, I had a guy contact me from, oh, shoot. It was a Swedish something or other.
Like,
yes, exactly that. Anyway, he wanted to buy a game that I had listed, but he wasn't able to figure out what the shipping was going to be. And I'm like, well, I don't, you know, I would just go in and, you know, I assumed that you just have to go in and put your, you know, zip code or whatever it is in there, and that eBay would tell you. But I didn't know if the reason he was getting that message was because, for whatever reason, maybe that game was restricted or whatever. We eventually worked it out, but yeah, just wondered.
Yeah, and who knows if they have, you know, certain countries have like nudity laws. So if it's a racy kind of game, maybe that would be a reason. Sexual situations or something, that might be a reason that you couldn't sell it there. I'm making stuff up. I don't know.
Sounds good.
You know, this is supposed to be a Q&A, but I'm not seeing much Q. So we're just going to have to give A's on think the Q's might be.
What we think the FAQs would be.
Right, exactly. So one of the things that comes up frequently, and it's not, I don't really struggle with it per se, but what do you do when you've researched an item that isn't listed, or there's nothing that has sold in, you know, a relatively short span of time, so that there is historical data so that you know what to price an item at? And I don't know what strategies that you guys use. First, you may not even buy that item. You may say, this item does, you know, hasn't sold, so I'm just going to pass it over. Of course, I'm passing over those items too if there's no solds and there's 500 of them listed. But in that situation where there's none listed and there's no recent solds, what are you guys doing to price your items?
I check Amazon as well, and Etsy, and then I just go to Google. I'll Google to see if I can find anything. I used to have a membership to
WorthPoint.
Yes, Worth wasn't using it very often, so it off for a while. I may turn it back on because there's been a few times lately that I wished that I had it again. But you know, I Google, and sometimes you can find old eBay listings through Google, maybe in the cached way of researching something. And then if worse comes to worse, I just put a price in my head that I think it might be valued at, bump it up a bit more, even higher than that, and put best offer on it.
Well, that's what I do. If I can't find it, it must be rare.
Yeah. Well, see, that's
my motto. If it ain't out there, then somebody's wanting it and it's not available. So I shoot high. In fact, I had this example probably within the first 6 months of starting to sell on eBay. I found a puzzle. It was sealed. It was a beautiful watercolor painting of like a Hawaiian girl. It was really nice. And the artist had some notoriety, you know, wasn't like world famous, but had some notoriety. And I just put it up there for $99.99. Couldn't find another one like it. I could find prints by this artist on a couple sites, but I couldn't find this puzzle anywhere. And someone bought it for $99.99.
Wow.
So, you know, you can't ask a lot. You can't make a lot if you don't ask a lot.
So Ainsley, who goes by Mother's Mustache, which is probably the best name out there, wants to know, like, do we sell mostly on eBay? Do we sell mostly where? I sell mostly on eBay. I have sold on Amazon. I don't love it. I'm probably getting ready to recall all my inventory this month. And I do sell on Etsy. It's slow going just because I don't have a ton listed there. And I sell locally. So I do some Facebook Marketplace as well. And there are a lot of other platforms that I'm not that familiar with, like Mercari. I've sold on that one. I just haven't listed anything there for a long time. I've never sold on Poshmark. So I'm primarily an eBay seller. Linda?
I'm when I say primarily, I mean the majority of my stuff is eBay, but I do a lot, especially during Q4, because I do a lot of retail arbitrage during the Christmas time for toys and such. And I'm building up my Etsy store. I kind of have a goal to be at 100 items listed on Etsy by October 1st for fourth quarter. I've never sold on Mercari. I do a little bit locally, very little, using OfferUp. I won't do Craigslist. I just think OfferUp's a bit safer, just because you actually sign up there, so you're not as secret as you are on Craigslist. So I use OfferUp, and yeah, I think that's it.
Yeah. And I do most of mine on Facebook Marketplace, which, you know, is also
I need to try, and that's kind of in my back of my head. I need to find some time to sit down and start doing that as well, because yeah, I think that's probably an even safer way of doing it.
Yeah, and we can talk about that in a second. Chris, go ahead and talk about where you sell, and then talk about your best offer.
Yeah. So I also sell 95% of what I sell is on eBay. I have an Amazon seller account. I used to send things into them. As I told Sarah, we're on a break. Like we're split up right now because I just found it just got to be too restricted and too expensive and not worth my time. Like I could sell the same item, make basically the same profit on eBay. Not everything, but on, you know, most things. And I just, you know, as a buyer, I adore Amazon, but as a seller, we have some issues. Poshmark, a long, long time ago, like when I first started selling on eBay, I think I was listing on Poshmark, but I quickly got disenchanted with that as well. And I will use, I do sell on Etsy. Prior to even starting selling on eBay, I sold on Etsy at Christmas time. I sold ugly Christmas sweaters back when ugly Christmas sweaters first were the thing. So I pretty much only sell on Etsy during the, you know, November, December months and sell those. I do use Facebook Marketplace, not as much as I should, and I do use OfferUp, and that's about it. My best offer strategy. So I used to put best offer on everything, and I've sort of changed strategies over time, a couple of times, I guess. But what I do now is probably within the first like 15 days of listing something, I don't put best offer because I'm very reluctant to accept a best offer if I've just listed something. I find that I'm like, oh, well, if I'm getting offers that quickly, you know, this must be a hot item, which is in my head, but you know, that's what I think. So you know, maybe the first 10 days or something, I list something, I don't put best offer on it. And then throughout the month, like as I revisit my listings, I might add the best offer to it. You know, maybe 10 days later, then I will, you know, change the shipping or drop the price or whatever. I'm always playing with my listings. I'm always changing things. I accept a lot of best offers. You know, I do like that option, but I used to be more of a mindset to sell it high or set the price high and accept a best offer. And now I'm kind of more like, I'd rather have that fast nickel. I'd rather price a little more competitively and not hold on to stuff and just turn things over. So I'm changing. It's always evolving for me. That's my best offer strategy.
Yeah. Linda, what's your take on best offer? Because I know that you do take a lot of best offers from your videos.
When I first list my items, 99% of the time I don't put best offer. I let them fly for a month for the first 30 days without best offer. Then when 30 days is up and they need to be relisted or sell similar, which I do, then I go, all of the stuff that I'm relisting that day, I go in and bulk edit and put them all to a best offer and do it that way. So yeah, I'm pretty much the same way. I want to give those 30 days for people to buy at full price, and then if it doesn't sell at full price, then I figure I probably have it priced a little high, so I do the best offer and let the customer tell me what it's worth.
Yeah, so I do my best to separate my business brain with my personal brain. That really doesn't work for me a lot, and sometimes I find myself taking a best or reading a best offer as a personal affront to me because they have just told me that my thing isn't worth nothing, and I know I have to separate those emotions from, the business, but I found myself getting kind of frustrated there for a while. So I have best offer only on a few things right now, and I've really just tried to price competitively. I do have a strategy where I will leave something basically at the price that I want for it for maybe even 60 days. And then I will go in and I reduce the price by a dollar amount and a penny. So I can kind of keep track of how many times I've reduced the price on an item. So I know if it ends in 97, I've reduced the price twice. So, and then eventually, if I've got something that's just not selling, I'll throw it at auction and get rid of it. But maybe what I need to do is not do that and turn on my best offer and see if I can get an offer that would be similar to the auction price anyway. One frustration I have with best offer, and I don't know why eBay makes it this way, is you don't pay immediately. And if you just made me an offer, because most of us respond to those pretty quickly, unless they're just in the middle of the night. And sometimes I do then too. If you just made me an offer and I just accepted it, or the system automatically accepted it for me, pay me. Don't make me go through the hassle of, the wait and then the unpaid item assistant, and then, closing it because you didn't pay or whatever, or what, that's a frustration for me. But those are my personal things that I'm trying to work out that affect business. I mean, I'm just a human with a brain, and that's the problem. That is the problem. One of the things that I wanted to talk about.
I just had an interesting thing happen since we're on the subject of best offer. As we've been sitting here talking, I received an offer on a I think it's a shirt, a Nautica shirt, or no, pants, Nautica pants. I received an offer on them for $17. I have them up for $19.99. And then about 5 minutes later, they sold. And I just took a look to see if it was the person that sent the offer that then just went back and bought it full price, and it was a different person.
Oh, wow. So
I saw this brought up on another channel, like in the last week or two, where someone said that maybe it was in a Facebook group. When they get an offer on something, they don't go in and accept it right away all the time, because they think that if an item has a pending offer on it from a customer, it either gets a boost from eBay and the listings, or it shows up to other buyers, potential buyers, that there's a pending offer, and so it can prompt somebody else who is actually interested in that item to go in and buy it. And I don't know if that, because usually I go in and accept or decline right away because I always have my phone with me. So like you said, unless it's in the middle of the night, I'm dealing with it right away. And gone in and dealt with it because we were sitting here talking, but then lo and behold, somebody else bought it for full price.
Yeah.
Think about that.
Maybe it does affect the algorithm.
I think it does. I mean, I think that this theory has been tested on another show, and I can't name it because I can't remember who it was. But they were actually tweaking a listing live as they were doing their show, and with each tweak, they would determine where it landed on the next time they searched that item, and when it was given, so one of the guys on the panel made an offer, and it did bump it up. The next time the next person searched it, it was higher in the ranks. So I do believe that does give it some sort of a bump. My other thing about best offer that I didn't mention, and I might be the only person that does this, but I'm so stingy about paying for shipping. If it depends on how much it is. If I'm not charging shipping, I mean. If it's an item that's going to, or sometimes I'll just charge a flat shipping amount, like it might be $8.75, whatever. It might be going next door, and it might be going to California. But if I see the offer is in Nevada or Washington, and I'm in Kentucky, I might not be as likely to accept it. If it's in Ohio, it's going to state away. I know that it isn't going to cost me as much. So I'm kind of have strange strategies about my best offers.
Yeah, you've got this data collection thing going on. So Chris is very like numbers centric to the point of obsession, and I'm not. I'm like completely shoot from the hip. I don't know my numbers, that kind of thing. It's just my personality. But I never even thought to look where somebody was from.
Well, it only make a difference if you use calculated shipping for most things, right?
Yeah, I do use calculated shipping, so it's not really going to matter.
Right.
But yeah, I don't even think to look at stuff like that. And one thing that you do need to keep in mind is folks that try to negotiate shipping in the comments of an offer, that is against eBay policy. They cannot negotiate the cost of shipping in a best offer. So keep that in mind. Most people don't know that, buyers and sellers, unless you've been selling for a while and have run across it. I'm sorry, I just got caught off guard because my husband's watching from work. Hi, honey.
Hey, I said hi to him earlier.
Yeah, I didn't see
your husband watching, and my brother is watching. So
yeah, I was wondering if that was your brother. So
that's my big brother.
Yeah. And I mean, there's 20 folks watching now. Thank you all for being here. This is wonderful. I did want to ask Nancy, who's watching, if she got her son off to college. Okay. Yeah, Will, I know that it's late there where you are. So go ahead and go to sleep and enjoy your vacation. Take care. But yeah, anyway, I was just wondering if I haven't talked to Nancy today, if she got her son back off to college. So anyway, if you just want to put something in the comments, if she's still there. Let's talk about, I don't know, what do you got? What do you got, Linda? What's popping into your brain?
Nothing.
Oh, Chris has got a list. Don't worry.
There's nothing going on in that brain. What are you talking about?
Yeah. Oh, good. I'm glad to hear that, Nancy. So what's on your list of shipping?
Oh, I didn't really have a list of like questions to answer. I just had like as a backup in case we weren't getting questions that I would maybe give a tip or something like that. Because that's how I roll.
Roll.
So, would you like me to give one?
Yes, absolutely.
Okay, I'll do that. Let me grab my props.
And I want to welcome Angie, and hey, Bill, it's nice to have you here. And oh my gosh, there's so many people. I'm so happy. 20 people make me happy. Okay.
I'm so happy. All right, so this is not my. I did not come up with this brilliant idea, but I believe. You know what? I don't want to say who it was because I'm not sure. So I use a ton of these, padded flat rate mailers, but a lot of times what I'm shipping in there is maybe a little more fragile, and I don't really want it to just be in this bubble wrap or even just be in bubble wrap. I'm trying to think of an example, and nothing's like leaping to mind. But and you can buy boxes that fit perfectly inside this, inside the envelope from some places, but you can make your own. So if you take shoebox. Okay.
Uh-huh.
And you cut it in half. So cut it down the.
Yep.
Okay. And then you cut your slits to make your box. You come up with something like this. Okay. This box now, so half of this box folded down now fits perfectly. Watch this not work while I'm on the air. It fits into a padded flat rate once it's half. Now I will admit that I did this before I had my what's that thing called that I love so much? That box resizer.
Mm-hmm.
Love that thing. Love that thing.
Yeah.
So I cut this one down before I had that thing. So anyway, but once you do that, it just
Look at that.
slips right down inside there. And it's not so bad that when you would seal it that it would be too awkward. But anyway, it's a perfect box to go inside your padded flat rate. It gives a little more protection. And, you know, you could fit some things in there, a smaller mug possibly. I'm trying to think of what else, a figurine of some sort maybe.
There is something I hate about this idea.
Okay.
And that thing is that I didn't know about it already. So, yeah, for coffee mugs.
Okay, Chrissy won?
Yeah, you definitely scored just then because, and for those of you that are like, oh, I don't know if you can do that because you're using that priority boxes packaging, as long as you're shipping it priority, you should still be okay. You'll get mixed reviews about things like that if you ask in a Facebook group. But yeah. I think I mean, I Frankenbox priority mailers all the time. I don't know if that's something that you do, Linda.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, I mean, and as long as you're paying for priority shipping, they don't have a problem with that. If you are resizing,
Frankenstein the flat rate boxes.
You can Frankenstein them, but you have to mark out flat rate everywhere.
And it depends honestly where you take it. Some people will take it, and some people won't.
There's actually a DMM from the post office, and it is instructions for how they. Okay, you're right. You'll get flack from the post office sometimes, depending on where you are. About you can't do that, but there is a DMM notice, which is an internal post office memo that says that you can repackage that as long as it ships priority. So
any alteration of a flat rate box is permitted, but it no longer goes at the flat rate.
A flat rate, yeah. So
that is what the DMM says, and the DMM is the domestic mail manual, and it's about like this thick.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. See, Chris knows stuff. But yeah,
it's interesting, Chris, that you do with the padded flat rate, making a box to go into it, because I recently bought a I forget what they're called, but somebody designed a box specifically. Yeah. So I actually bought some of
Gotti Stuffer, yeah.
You know, I suppose I could have done it like you and not paid to buy boxes and just Frankenstein them, but at the same time, I don't know that I'd want to take the time. It'd just be nice to have these ones that are already made. So, and I
personally love playing with boxes.
And it does. There is a difference between if you're shipping 4 packages a day and 25 packages a day too.
And I mainly got mine for the upcoming 4th quarter when it's going to be crazy busy of stuff for me shipping, because I saw how busy I was past the 4th quarter, and I'll be even more so this year because I've got another year under my belt of having been full time. And instead of having 300 listings on eBay like I did last year, I'm going to have hopefully 1,000. That's my goal, to get to 1,000. I'm at 830 now. It's going to be a lot of shipping. So anything.
An example of something you can do in your slow months, like right now. Like I have about 6 or 8 of those already cut in half and prepared, ready to go. You know, and it's just one of those other things you can do when you're slow. I mean, there's a ton of things that can be done while you're waiting for something to sell.
So how much are those Scotty stuffers?
I don't know.
Let me go look at my order offhand.
Yeah, see how much they are. And Nancy, I am not real sure about the bundle button. I haven't played around with it yet.
I've seen it, but I have no idea what it means.
And I will do some research. And Linda, do you know anything about it?
I'm wondering if
About what?
The eBay bundle button?
No.
so. I think it's down in the maybe it's right underneath where you price or something like that. It says something about, do you want this as a bundle or something? And I'm just wondering if maybe it's not available yet. Maybe that's why we're not hearing about it yet. But
Right.
it could be that maybe if you have similar items that are for sale that might go together or whatever, you might have a cassette player and some cassettes, that maybe you could choose those as a bundle and they would automatically somehow combine whatever.
Cassettes and a cassette player. Welcome to the 2000s.
Yeah. Because we sell those.
Right. You know, jamming or Walkman.
1984 called, they want their media back.
They want their boombox back. So
I make a lot of money on the old.
Right.
One of my favorite sellers is the CD portable Walkmans, like the Sony Walkman, cassettes and CDs. And I think I just sold a CD on Amazon. On Amazon today. So.
Linda, are you doing merchant fulfilled or are you doing FBA?
Both. It depends on the item. Be a longer tail item, I don't want to pay the long-term storage fees, so I do merchant fulfilled. If it's something real large like a game or something, I prefer to do FBA because it's a pain in the ass to ship. So I try to do those FBA. But so yeah, it did. Item by item, I decide.
So are you doing those Wii games that you just got FBA?
I just was listing those this afternoon, and yeah, they're going FBA. Yeah.
The Scotty stuffers are about $1.70 a piece. I just looked them up.
Yeah.
Yeah, I bought 50 of them for $40.
So the more you buy, the cheaper they get.
Yeah.
And that's what Bill says. He's saying they're $29 for 25, but they're cheaper if you buy more. So
yeah, and I bought 50, so.
Yeah.
If I like it, but I may try to stretch them out. I may do Chris's idea as well.
Are they pretty, like?
They're not real thick. So I mean, I would not put a unbubble wrapped mug in them because it's not going to be that much support. But it's there's definitely times where it'll be something that I just don't want to get squashed in a padded envelope, and it just gives it that little extra support, so that I can avoid having to do the regular priority mail my weight.
Yeah, I'm all over this. You know, like white on rice. I'm on it.
Yeah.
So the dimensions are 9.5 by 3.5 by. Whoop! I just lost it. 9.5 by 3.5 by 5.5. No, 9 by 5.5 by 3.5 for the Scotty stuffers, apparently.
Okay.
And they were designed to fit to use up as much of the padded envelope, but still be able to fit it in and close it properly. So they were designed specifically for this reason.
Yeah. And something I've talked about before, this is off the shipping situation, but something that I always like to bring up because I was faced with it again today, is when you're selling a quantity of something. So if you have more than one of an item and you're selling a quantity, make sure that that is the time when you're using that good until canceled listing, and you're putting the quantity in that listing. And I mean, I don't sell a ton of things that have quantity, but there are times that I do. By using that good until canceled listing, eBay will keep up with the actual quantity that you have in stock. So it will subtract one every time one sells. Relisting a item will not change the quantity. In other words, if you've got 2 of something and it's a 30-day listing, if you've sold one and then at the end of the 30 days that listing ends, it will still have 2 as the quantity when you relist it, and you only have 1 left. So this is the time to use that good until canceled listing. It will also, while it's keeping track of your inventory, as your items sell, it will boost the search results using that historical data of this item has sold several times before from the seller. So those are just something to keep in mind when you have a quantity of items. I just thought that was a tidbit to throw out because I think a lot of people, I think it gets people in situations where they don't have inventory to ship because they've oversold their item.
Yeah, I always hated that, how eBay, how when you went to relist it or sell similar, that it didn't take any. Because I got caught with that before. I think I've always been lucky, and I've never ended up selling something I didn't have, but I've almost fallen into it because I forgot that I had sold some of the item and I didn't go in and adjust the quantity. And I've just started recently doing that. Anything that has the multiple quantity, I'm setting it for good to cancel. It's the only time I use good to canceled anymore. I always do 30 days unless it's now multiple quantity for that very reason.
Yeah, yeah, and that's what I do. I always do 30 days unless there's a multiple quantity, because it's easy for those listings get stale, and you're not paying close attention to them. I think if they're not ending, so that you take a closer look at the item and see if there's something you could improve in that listing. Plus, doing that sell similar feature once that item ends gives it the new eBay listing number, so it will show as a newly listed item in your search results. So, I mean, it's just win-win, because I have stopped bulk relisting, bulk sell similar, because it's easy, but I don't pay attention to reviewing each listing. So I've really started to go in and review each listing. Sometimes I have 60 items that will end in a day, but it may take me a couple of days to go through all of those and get them relisted. Linda, do you care to share how many items you have listed?
About 830 on eBay right now.
Wow. I am at about 550, I think. And I'm going to try and get that up before Q4 for sure.
Yeah. My goal is to get to 1,000, but I think I'm point to where I'm selling per day. That's making it difficult for me to keep growing my amount. I know at some point
that's not a bad thing.
Yeah, there's only so much time in the day, but I think I'm getting close to that. So it may be a bit of a hard push for me to get to 1,000 by Q4, but I'm going to try it and just see how many I can get to.
Yeah, I don't think I can get there by Q4, which I didn't sell as much last month. May was not last month. June was last month, but May was pretty terrible. At 500-ish listings, I sell about 120 items a month. I've got some real stale stuff that I'm trying to push out. But I don't know if I can I would like to get up to like 800 by Q4. But again, you've got to that means you've got to source and list the 120 items that you sold last month, and a number on top of that.
Sorry if you can hear me typing.
No, it's fine. I was looking at Nana Beth's post. I have 3 eBay stores, heard that variation listings show up in search more, so I turned one store into mostly just variation listings. Did this 2 months ago. That store's sales have doubled. That's good to know. I have not tried this. Chris has done variation listings. I'm thinking I need to start doing them for items that I part out.
Yep, that's where it works best. And you can't do it in all categories, so that's a watch out. I don't know what categories you can, and I'm sure I can find that out really quickly. But yeah, for like, I had 2 mixers or food processors that were 2 different models, but virtually the same components. And I did a variation listing for those and just did each part. The only thing that I don't like about variation listing is that I think you have to either do all free shipping or all the same amount of shipping. So if it's a bowl for a food processor that's going to, cost maybe, fit in a box, it's going to cost me a little bit to ship. If it's the blade that I can stick into a padded flat rate, or whatever. I mean, I'm just saying that I don't know that you can change the shipping. So if somebody else knows, that would be great to know. It seems like when I tried to do it for something else, I wasn't able to. And the other thing, like I wanted to, I had bought a set of canisters, the Mary Mushroom canisters that I think I picked up at a yard sale, and I posted a picture in the Facebook group about. I tried to do a variation listing with that, and I couldn't, based on the type of item it was, because I was just going to do a variation of like this canister, this canister, this canister, 6-inch, 8-inch, whatever, just so I'm only burning one listing, to do that. But I wasn't able to figure it out.
Yeah. Linda, what about you? Do you do variation listings? Do you have items that you would need to do that?
Very rarely. I mean, I don't know. I do have things that I have variations of sizes and colors. Leggings that I did some online retail arbitrage with, and those have a multiple or variations, but that's, I think, all I have right now.
Yeah.
I mean, because most of my stuff is one-off stuff.
Yeah,
so,
right. And
mine is too. Yeah.
Yeah, it's just when I'm, when I'm parting out an item and I need that same maker and model, and I need all of that same information over and over and over again. I usually end up that create draft, like create duplicate.
What's great about the variation listing when it's something like that, like, this particular food processor, I could probably find it at every thrift store I walked into. Like, so I can always just go in and bump up my, well, I've got another bowl to sell, and bump up my quantities. You know what I mean? As long as you're stating in the listing that the item they receive may not be the one that's pictured, but it's, there's
like condition or whatever.
There's similar condition or whatever. If you, as long as you're being clear about that, I think that's fine. But yeah, I mean, I love that. I can just go in and add another blade or add another, whatever. So
yeah, I may have to play around with that more. I mean, there are probably other tools that I have not taken advantage of just because, I'm used to the way I'm doing it, and I do need to play around more, because whatever we can do to increase our sales. I think Bill is right. May was probably horrible for everybody. It was.
There's always somebody out there who says it's their best month ever.
Yeah. Well, I mean,
great for me. I was right on pace with my goal and everything. Then the last 2 weeks.
Yeah. So, and let's talk about goals. Linda, are you setting weekly goals, monthly goals, quarterly goals? What are you doing?
I set monthly goals, and then then I have a few goals like my listing, trying to get to 1,000 that are basically pre-fourth quarter goals, but for the most part monthly. I get together with a friend of mine once a month. She's a massage therapist at her own business, so we kind of have a little beginning of each month, and we give each other our goals for the day. Try to be a little accountable. So
yeah, how's your journaling going?
You saw that video. Good. Yeah, I've been enjoying it. It's something new. I don't know what she's talking about, but my friend who's also my massage therapist just recently wrote a devotional journal combination thing. And it's for people that maybe want to get into morning devotional type thing, but aren't quite sure, well, what should I write and stuff. And so she kind of has each day you have 1 page a day type thing, and she just has little positive statements or maybe a art sentence just to kind of get your brain going. So I've been doing that the last week, and I like it. It's turned out to be a really nice way to start off my day, to just really kind of get my mind focused and get any thoughts that are in my head either out and on paper. So yeah, I've been enjoying it. It's been nice.
Good.
This book, it was something that she's had in her brain to do for a few years, but didn't really know any way to get it done. But now Amazon's made it so easy for publishing books and T-shirts and all kinds of stuff like that, that she actually started working on it and has it up on Amazon now. So
Yeah, and that's I mean, that's a game changer for anybody that has ever written a novel or wanted to get some information out there. But you know, what do you get an agent and a publisher and an editor and all of these people, and some of them are still important, like you need to have an editor, but um, you know, the chances of you getting a book published were just astronomical. And now you can basically create everything digitally, send it up to Amazon, and they will print on demand um, your books. So there's no initial investment that you would need to make. Amazon doesn't have to make any initial investment other than just having the platform there. And you can upload this and people can buy this book. Amazon prints it and sends it to them. It is such a great game changer. Um, my husband, oh my goodness. But anyway, you know, same thing with the t-shirts. You know, you create a digital design and Merch by Amazon will print that shirt when someone buys it and send it off to them. I mean, those kinds of things are socially awkward seller t-shirts. I'll get right on that.
I'd be afraid somebody'd come up and ask me about it.
Right, exactly. But you'd be okay talking about it because I think everybody here is pretty passionate about reselling. I mean, we really are. To give an example, I was at my storage unit today where I took some inventory over and put it in the bins and, you know, wrote down the location so I can put it on the spreadsheet when I get back home. And across the way, there's always this kid there that basically rents a storage unit to work on his car. And I could hear them. He was with his girlfriend there and they were just talking. And she was talking about like how she wished she had never started being a dancer. And I mean, these kids are young. He's like 19. And how she wishes she could do something else. And he was, you know, struggling as he's going to college and everything. And I just walked over there and I'm like, listen, reselling is a huge market. It's not that hard. If you've got somebody to help you go through it, it can be really profitable. And if you guys want to get into it, just let me know because you see me here all the time. And just nice, polite kids. But I talk about reselling to everybody, probably ad nauseum. But it's because I'm passionate about it, just like you guys. I mean, we're all here because we love reselling and we like to share the information. I've said this before that my reselling comes out of the fact that I love to thrift and ran out of room to put tchotchkes. So I started, you know, I thought, well, the way to be able to buy more tchotchkes is to sell some of the ones that you have. And you know, you put yourself in that unique position where I've learned so much about items that are out there, like things I never even knew what they were before. I can say, oh yeah, I've sold that. But you get to own something kind of like this guy. It's Mowgli. But you get to own something cool for a short period of time and then let it go to somebody that will enjoy it long term. Mm-hmm. Or pilot in their living room up to the ceiling. I'm not judging anybody. But
but I always feel like I'm saving it from a certain death, like
from a landfill or
someone who's going to love it and appreciate it.
Yeah, and it's just a unique job to have, and I have a hard time turning it off. Do you all experience that?
I can't turn it off.
I mean, Linda, are you on 24/7 pretty much?
Oh yeah, totally.
Yeah, so don't think when I went on vacation with my family, we didn't stop and thrift. And I know Nancy just went on 2 weeks vacation in Florida and they thrifted. And every time I text Chris, she's in a thrift store. So.
Hey, wait a minute.
Well, pretty much any trip I have in my brain that I want to go on is picking related because I want my best friend and we want to go over to what's called the Western Slope here, so the west side of the Rockies, so Grand Junction area, and so I said, well, let's do it, but we have to stop at thrift stores the whole way along the way. So we're going to take a drive out there. We're going to take the whole day to drive what would normally be like I guess maybe a 3 or 4 hour drive, but we'll take the whole day because we're going to stop at thrift stores. Then we're going to get a hotel. Then the next day, spend the day thrifting around there and then drive home. So
yeah, I mean, I love it. I want to see what thrift stores have in the area that I'm going to. We went to Myrtle Beach last year, and my husband, who's not a shopper and not a thrifter, was kind enough to take me to a couple of Goodwills there, and we were kind of shocked by the higher prices and the lack of selection. Like the products weren't very high quality, but they're priced high, and maybe because it was a vacation destination. But you know, I'm interested to know, you know, what kind of products are we gonna find there. You know, I expect if I'm probably in Linda's neck of the woods, I probably expect to find more ski equipment, more hiking gear, and that sort of thing than I would find here in Columbus, Ohio. Not to say that we don't hike, but you know, regionally, you would expect to find other items in different places. But anyway, I just got a Facebook Marketplace.
Are you going to have to leave us and go meet somebody on the porch?
No, I am not. But fortunately, I have the items here. So let's talk about Facebook Marketplace for just a second.
Okay.
It is, for those of you that have not used it or are not familiar with it, I'm going to hold this up to camera. I doubt it will look very good. But if you open your app on Facebook, it's going to be this little marketplace in the middle. And you can see I've got a 1 there, and that means that there's a message there. It's probably just a new listing. But if you go in there, it will let you, of course, search items, but it will also let you add a new item, and you can post something. It posts it just to the marketplace, just to the Facebook Marketplace, which is an app like Let Go or OfferUp. But you have the option to post it in other groups that you are a part of for reselling. So any of your buy, sell, trade local Facebook groups that you are a member of, you are able to post those there as well. So it lets you write one listing and post it in all of the other groups at the same time. And once you mark it sold, it marks it sold everywhere. The only thing I don't like about it is when you are able to renew a listing in Facebook Marketplace, it doesn't bump it up or renew it in the other places. So you have to go there and manually bump that listing. But so far, I've been doing this for a few weeks. I would say probably a month. And I've sold a few $100s worth of stuff off my porch. And most of the people I didn't even see. I would just put the stuff on the porch, put the little tin that I use for them to put the money in, and my Ring doorbell will go off and let me know there's motion out there, and I'll go out and find money. It's like, you know, was it Rumpelstiltskin who was the one that did the straw into gold? It's kind of like that. What fairy tale?
Rumpelstiltskin.
It was
Rumpelstiltskin.
Yeah. So it's kind of like that. You know, I put straw on the porch, and when I go back out there, there's gold. So, I mean, it seems to work if you live in.
So it's an honesty type thing. You just trust that the person's going to put the money in it.
You know what? I haven't had a single person gyp me. Not even $1. I haven't had anybody steal the stuff off my porch either. You know, so.
You're not be putting diamond rings out there, but you know.
Yeah, anything that's over like $20, I don't leave on the porch. You know, I will meet them somewhere, or they can come here and pick it up. But yeah, if it's very expensive, I don't leave it out there. But That way you're not, most of the time, not sitting in a parking lot waiting for a no-show, because that gets kind of old. But yeah, the $5, $10, $15, $20 items, I'll leave those on my porch and people will come. Yeah, it is like the tooth fairy came, Nana. Yeah, except for I don't have to leave a tooth, which is good. Because I'm from Kentucky. I don't have that.
Pound of flesh out there. No.
Right, exactly. But
yeah, Nana, I think that the difference with the Facebook is, with Facebook, you see who the people are and everything. Whereas on Craigslist, I never have anyone from OfferUp or Craigslist come to my house. I always meet in the local police department parking lot. But yeah, I can see on Facebook, it's different because it's more accountability, I guess, when it's Facebook.
Right. Yeah, because it is their Facebook account. You know, some of these people have had Facebook accounts for years and years and years, and their friends are linked there. I mean, there is a higher probability that they are who they say they are. I mean, I have not once yet had a Nigerian prince offer to buy my items if I would cash a check for him and, you know, give it to their movers or whatever. So I've had a lot of good luck with Facebook, and I tend to trust it more than Craigslist. Something about being able to, well, I mean, I can look at their profile for the most part, but something about being able to instant message that person and talk to them live makes me feel a little bit better. Could still be a Nigerian prince, I know, but it does give me the feeling that this person is really interested. They really want this item, and I shouldn't have any issues with it. So, and as far as people coming to my house, most of the time they don't come in my house. I don't even know that they're out there. It's really no different than somebody driving past my house. So, so far I haven't had any problems. If you live in a sketchier kind of place, if you have, you know, if you have a problem with things coming up missing, that might not be the best idea for you. That being said, I went out to the storage unit earlier today, and there were 4 Columbus police cars, like right down the street. And there were 2 of them there like hours later. I don't know what was going on. No SWAT, so I feel good about that. You know, no SWAT. So, oh yeah, sales. So Chris, you run 2 to 3 sale days a week.
No, I prefer to.
Oh, you prefer to.
I don't do it.
Oh.
It's my goal to at least run 1 sale a week for 2 to 3 days, but I don't agree with people who are constantly running a sale. I think it loses its effectiveness that way. So unless you have like half of your items on sale this week and half of them the next week, you know, unless it's some kind of a different thing, that's just my personal opinion. But I have been less running sales lately and more just discounting and using auctions to get rid of stuff. But I do like sales, and I do feel like they do generate some traffic. Yes.
Yeah. Linda, what's your take on sales?
I've tried sales. They just never seem to work for me. I don't know what it is. I never seem to see a pop in sales. I mean, I might sell 1 or 2 of the items that I put on sale, but I don't know for sure whether they would have sold.
What percentage do you normally offer off?
Sorry, say again?
What percentage do you normally offer? Like,
Range
is it
from
percentage
10% up to 40%.
Okay.
I noticed a difference, and I know I keep trying. I mean, it's one of those things I will keep trying.
It doesn't cost you anything, you know, to do them. So.
Yeah.
But I personally just haven't had a lot of luck with them.
Yeah, I don't know if they help me greatly or not, but when I feel desperate, I for sure will run them, because fear rules. Okay. But I have not run one for probably a couple of weeks just because I haven't thought about it, because I have that brain that can only do one thing at a time. But I probably should start looking at running one maybe a little more often, just to get some even some traffic. You know, if people are clicking on my listings, maybe that will make them show up more in the search results. I don't know, maybe that drives them down. So,
Well, part of what I don't like is because most of my stuff, except for the new stuff, which new stuff I'm not going to put on sale anyway, is I got best offer on anyway. So the person can make their own sale. So I don't get that boost in the rankings of, so if you supposedly get a boost for having something on sale, which I would think you would. That's something on sale.
Just like in the stores, I think it's just a mental thing. If I'm looking at something and it says, "Oh, today it's 30% off."
Yeah, but yeah, if I have it on best offer and then I put it on sale, and then people send me an offer even more below the sale price, it's like, no, dude, it's already on sale.
I generally remove best offer if I put it on sale.
listen, why don't I pay you $12 to take this, and I'll pay shipping to get it to you? How's that? How,
Exactly.
Kim, are you saying you have a hoarder basement, or are you wondering if I have a hoarder basement? Because I hoard other places. It's messy in this basement, but I don't hoard here. So I know Chris has a shed. Linda, are you able to keep all your stuff like on site, or do you have a storage unit? Or
I don't have a storage unit. I have in my house a finished basement in my house that's 800 square feet, and it's able to accommodate all of my stuff, and it'll be able to accommodate more when I tidy it up. An area that became real cluttered because it's also where I store my own, my Christmas ornaments and my pictures, and stuff like that. And it's got one area's gotten very, very cluttered. So I've been working on that a little by little this summer. I've cleared out one little area, and by the end of the summer, I'll have it all nice and organized again and have even more space for more bins.
I get jealous when Sarah says, "I have to go sourcing because I don't have anything to list."
I know. How do you do that, Sarah?
well, sometimes I just force myself to no, you can't go sourcing until you get. You got all your money tied up in what's sitting here, and it's not listed.
You have your pudding if you don't eat all your meat. Exactly.
So I do have quite a bit to list that I'll be working on tomorrow afternoon. Man, this baby that's coming, not mine, my grandchild, is taking up all my time. So now we're going to the doctor almost every week, and I have to drive down there and wait at the doctor's office, and they're not fast. And I don't like that kind of break in my routine, because that's going to make me want to go shop. And I don't need to go shop. I got all this stuff that I've got to list from that church sale on Saturday. So, but I'm probably going to be listing quite a bit tomorrow afternoon is what I'm thinking, and hopefully get all this stuff wrapped up so I can source again maybe Tuesday. So I know that you've been hitting the garage sales a lot. Saturday was really my first one. I'm very fortunate in that I can find inventory pretty easily here. So I don't know if you guys are experiencing that. Yard sales are usually cheaper, but are you able to find inventory regardless, Linda?
Oh yeah, because I've got lots of thrift stores around me. I'm real lucky because I've got garage sales during the summer, countless thrift stores that I can get to an area, and even if I needed to spread out, I pretty much stay within 10 miles of my house for thrift stores. But if I decide I want to spread my wings, I can head down to the South Denver area because I'm in the North Denver. I can head down to the South Denver area. And then if I really want to spread wings, I can go down to Colorado Springs, stuff like that. And then I've got auction houses, online estate auctions.
You've got the Goodwill auction too, the Goodwill auction.
Yeah, the Goodwill auction. Yeah, I do. I get a lot of stuff from the Goodwill auction. So I just have an endless supply of places to source. I'm real lucky where I live.
Yeah.
I'm the opposite. There is one thrift store in the county that I live in.
Wow.
Yeah, Chris has to drive a bit.
So I moved recently from Kentucky is my home, and that's where I grew up. But I had lived in Ohio for 17 years, just over in Cincinnati, and you couldn't throw a rock without hitting a thrift store there. But when I moved over back over to Kentucky, I was like, it never occurred to me prior to that we don't have any thrift stores here. So if I want to go, I have to go back over to my old stomping grounds, which is fine, you know, because I can hit several in one trip or whatever. But
Yeah.
And Bill mentions in chat the Goodwill bins. I've got the Goodwill bins here too. But once again, that's for clothing. If you don't do clothing, yeah, that's what helps me as well, because I do the hard goods as well as clothing. So when hard goods are hard to come by, no pun intended, into the endless supply of clothing I can get, you know.
Yeah. So for me, I have to go at least an hour and 15 minutes to get to a Goodwill bins, but that's driving to Dayton. But that Goodwill has a selection of clothes, and they have tons of hard goods there. So yeah, you can buy anything there. If I drive down to meet Chris to shop for the day, we go to the Goodwill bins in Cincinnati, which are much smaller, but we always find stuff when we go there too, clothes and hard goods. So I'm just waiting for them to put one here in Columbus. I don't know why they chose Cincinnati and Dayton, which are smaller cities, to put the bins in. If they could put one here, I'd appreciate it. Plus, it will help kind of get rid of some of the junk that is overpriced at the Goodwills that are here. Because I'm like you, I'm blessed in that, like, there are 5 Goodwills within 5 thrift stores, 6 thrift stores within 15 minutes of me. And then sometimes I do branch out, and I mean, I can't hit them all. There's just so many. And we have Salvation Army, Volunteers of America, Goodwills, and then Ohio Thrift is another chain here. And then you've got all your little mom and pops, all the church run ones. So
where's the closest Savers to you? Do you know?
I don't know where there's a Savers. Do you have those out west, Linda? Do you have Savers out there?
They mostly
Vegas.
down. We had some, and there might be one left somewhere in Denver, not near me though. The ones that were somewhat near me closed down.
Yeah.
They were expensive.
Yeah, we hear about them a lot, like watching other YouTubers, but I've never been in a Savers. I would like to go to the Village Thrift, which is down in Cincinnati. We always find good stuff down there too. Some of it will be like, this ain't $15, but you know, this gold ring is $4. I mean, it doesn't make any sense.
I mean, 9 cents. They literally mark some things 9 cents.
They will mark things down to 9 cents, and you're like, really?
Crazy.
But yeah, so definitely lots of options here. I should thrift more at garage sales. I probably would if I had a buddy, but again, that's me dealing with all of the gastrointestinal stress of walking up on somebody's garage sale. So I probably will stick to church sales for a while this summer until that kind of dries up. But
I got over that anxiety when I started making money from all the stuff I was finding. Now I
I know. I almost sometimes wish I was in a position where I needed the money to survive, because I think it would push me even further, because there are folks out there. Bill, you're cracking me up waiting for people to die and going to their estate sale. You still have to deal with live people.
That's my brother.
You know, they didn't put them in like an urn in the living room and that's where you put the money or something. I still have to deal with live people there. But
that's my problem. I don't like to, I will not negotiate. Like, I mean, I might, if it's $7, I might say, will you take 5? But it would be a rare thing for me to do that. Like, I just do not have the confidence to do that.
Isn't that crazy?
I embarrass my friends with my bargaining at garage sales. When my friends go with me to the garage sales, because a beautiful puffer, nice North Face jacket, and they've already got it priced at, $7, and I ask them to come down to 5, or 5, I ask them to come down to 3. They get so embarrassed. It's like, hey, it's money saved is money earned.
Right. You're the person I want to throw out of my garage sale. What I have.
I'm the one that overpays for everything because I'm too embarrassed for less.
I've had to really, not get insulted about that too, because all of the stuff that I have put out on tables for my yard sale, garage sale, I don't want to take back in the house. So there becomes a point where I'm like, just shut that off. And I don't care if whatever it is, let them have it and get rid of it. Cause I'm just going to take it to Goodwill anyway. I'm not going to keep that stuff, but
the best way to get prices down at a garage sale is to bundle. I always try, if I find something I want, I desperately try to find at least one, if not two other items, bundle them together. It's the best way to get the price down on something. Then you're not being as specific about, well, you have it priced at this, will you take this much lower? If you bundle stuff, I'm buying quantity, give me a discount,
Yeah.
It sounds good in theory.
Yeah. Like sales that don't have prices give me a lot of anxiety too. But basically what I kind of do is wait for other people to ask like how much things are to see if they're going to be outrageous on their prices. And if they sound like they're going to be kind of fair, then I'll pick up, because I never just buy one thing at a yard sale usually.
Right.
If there's either nothing that I'm going to buy or there's multiple things. But then, yeah, I will try to bundle some stuff together, because when you're buying more, you don't even really have to bargain. If they're not marked, most of the time they're going to give you a decent price.
Right.
It's those yard sales that they go to that have the eBay printout tape.
I just walk away.
Yeah. Yeah. Sometimes I just want to go up to them and say, can I return this in 30 days if I pay this price? Because, eBay's going to give me a 30-day return fee. Are you giving me buyer protection if I buy this? But anyway, we are at about 8:30. So I think we're at a good stopping place. Oh my gosh, 25 people here. That is amazing. Oh my gosh.
It's my monster Merlin.
No wonder you need to work so hard. That thing probably eats you out of house.
This is pet show off time.
Yeah, apparently. My husband just opened the door and let him in.
Yeah, my cat decided that he didn't want to be down here anymore. So, oh my goodness.
I'm gonna put you on the big screen. I gotta see what you got there.
This is just one of mine. I've got his brother who's just as big.
Are they like part Maine Coon or something?
No, they are Havana Brown.
That's a large kitty.
Yeah.
So, yeah, let's get Jedi up here. Let's see Jedi. Look at his little face. Look at it. He's so cute. What's your cat's name, Linda?
The one you saw was Merlin, and my other one is Ranger.
Nice. Gosh, you love those fur babies. Gotta love them.
Yep.
Nancy's saying most people don't know how to dicker. Nancy, you're showing your southern roots there. They don't say dicker up here.
I like dicker. I like that word.
Yeah. Cute. All right, folks. Thank you so much for being here. I can't thank you enough for showing up and hanging out with us and getting to know each other. And I've really enjoyed this. I think that we'll probably do this again if my guests are interested, and just hang out and talk and answer your questions. And maybe someday we'll have you ask some, because that'd be awesome. But
S-Best is right. I think the screen got stuck on me. I don't know if you did something, Sarah, or.
Oh, maybe I did. I get excited. I get excited. I kind of lose control a little bit. But I just want to thank everybody. Thanks to the panel for being here. Thank everybody that stayed and stuck around and interacted with us. We all appreciate that. And keep in mind and just remember that the dream works when you do. So keep dreaming and keep working, and I'll see you the next time.